page. A gunman opening fire, killing 2 police officers in Hawaii, then igniting a massive blaze, destroying at least 7 homes. The investigation underway.
State of emergency. Richmond, Virginia on high alert this morning, bracing for violence as thousands descend for a gun rights rally.
Prince Harry breaks his silence, speaking for the first time about the royal exit.
There really was no other option.
What he's saying about Meghan, Archie, and their new arrangement with the Queen.
Super Bowl showdown. The Kansas City Chiefs soaring into their first big game in 50 years. Now set to take on the San Francisco 49ers as 2 of the game's hottest young stars prepare to face off.
And the stars align at the SAG Awards. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston reuniting behind the scenes as both take home huge honors.
I got to add this to my Tinder profile.
And what this could all mean for the Oscars.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
And we certainly do say good morning, America. Thanks for joining us on this Monday morning as we honor and celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
And look at that gorgeous sight, a live look at the memorial in Washington. Coming up, a lot more on this day of service, and we'll hear how Dr. King is inspiring young kids today. But my goodness, George, what a week it's shaping up to be in D.C.
It sure is, and that's where we're going to begin with the latest in the Senate trial of President Trump. Both sides have filed their first official arguments, staking out dramatically different positions ahead of tomorrow's kickoff, which is likely to be an all-out fight over the rules of the trial and witnesses. Our senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega tracking the latest. Good morning, Cecilia.
George, good morning to you. We are just one day away now from history, only the 3rd impeachment trial ever in this country, and yet we still don't know what this trial is going to look like. One thing is very clear this morning: President Trump is bracing for the political fight of his life. Overnight in Texas, President Trump lamenting his current fate.
We're achieving what no administration has ever achieved before. And what do I get out of it? Tell me. I get impeached.
Now this morning, his team previewing for the first time their legal strategy ahead of his trial in the Senate. A 6-page letter blasting the impeachment as dangerous, poisonous, brazen, and lawless. Their main argument? They say the articles of impeachment are constitutionally and legally invalid because they do not accuse President Trump of a specific crime. And they call the impeachment, quote, a dangerous attack on the right of the American people to freely choose their president. His new legal team, a cast of Washington who's who and TV personalities, including former independent counsel Ken Starr and Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz, who already seemed to distance himself from the team's explosive defense of the president.
The president's brief filed last night says very clearly the president did nothing wrong, and you're saying you're not willing to endorse that statement.
I did not read that brief or sign that brief. That's not part of my mandate. My mandate is to present the constitutional argument. And if the constitutional argument succeeds, we don't reach that issue because you can't charge a president with impeachable conduct if it doesn't fit within the criteria for the Constitution.
Democrats unveiling their strategy, too, saying that during the now infamous phone call with Ukraine, President Trump asked a foreign government to interfere in the race for 2020 by investigating his political rival. They say he then obstructed Congress in what is, quote, part of the ongoing pattern of misconduct for which the president is unrepentant, and that President Trump's conduct is the framers' worst nightmare, writing he must be removed from office.
The facts aren't seriously contested.
Well, here's the facts. The odds are not in Democrats' favor in the Republican-controlled Senate. They need 4 Republicans to break ranks. George, you know this. The White House and the Republicans have made it very clear they want this trial over very quickly. They want it wrapped up by the president's State of the Union on February 4th.
Yeah, that's their hope, and that's what we're hearing from Republican senators who've talked to Mitch McConnell about the rules for the trial. But Democrats haven't even seen the rules yet, which means tomorrow is going to be a huge fight.
Yeah, we are heading into tomorrow not knowing a lot. Here are the things we don't know. Whether there will be new witnesses allowed. The Democrats are pushing really hard for this, given the new evidence that has come out in recent days. How long these days are going to last. Some are suggesting we could be talking about, George, 12-hour days that go until 2 or 3 in the morning. And on tomorrow, as you said, this could end up being very heavy on process, very light on substance, a lot of arguing about the rules to come.
And on a related front, Cecilia, yesterday when I was talking to Chairman Adam Schiff, who's the House lead manager, but also the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, he confirmed a story which said that the intelligence community is not coming forward to brief the public and the Congress on global security threats because they're afraid of contradicting President Trump.
Exactly. It was a really stunning admission. He's blaming the CIA. He's blaming the National Security Agency, saying that they're withholding information about Ukraine, as you said, out of fear of angering the president. He says this is information that the senators could use and need to hear during this upcoming trial. The Republicans are basically saying that this is Democrats not having proof that they've got the case that they already need to move forward tomorrow.
Cecilia Vega, thanks very much. I know you'll be joining us for our live coverage of the Senate impeachment trial tomorrow. I'll be anchoring with our entire political and legal team starting at 1 Eastern. Robin?
And George, as the impeachment trial ramps up, so of course is a race for the White House. We are just 2 weeks away from the critical Iowa caucuses, the first votes in the country. Rachel Scott is on the ground in Des Moines, Iowa, with the state of the race. Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning, Robin. We are in the final stretch, and this is traditionally when all of the candidates would be camped out in key early voting states. But that Senate impeachment and trial has scrambled the plans for the Democratic senators in this race, who are now forced to split their time between Washington and the campaign trail. The Democratic senators running for president blitzing through key early voting states and making their final pitch before that impeachment trial begins.
It's mostly about getting out there at any moment you can. I don't need much sleep. I can get by with very little sleep.
The schedules for the 4 senators upended 2 weeks ahead of the Iowa caucuses.
We've had to, needless to say, jiggle our schedule very significantly because I'm going to be spending a whole lot of time in D.C.
Senator Bernie Sanders bracing for a busy Wednesday after the trial, traveling 1,700 miles to make a nighttime rally in Iowa, then straight back to D.C. While those senators are serving as jurors, their rivals will be making their case to voters.
Mr. Vice President, how critical is a win in the first 2 contests for your campaign?
Oh, I think just doing well is critical.
In this critical stretch, the 2 leading progressives are still facing questions in the fallout of that post-debate confrontation.
I think you called me a liar on national TV.
What?
I think you called me a liar on national TV.
Let's not do it right now.
Do you think that gender is still an obstacle for female politicians?
Look, the answer is yes, but I think everybody has their own sets of problems. All right, I'm 78 years of age. That's a problem.
Senator Elizabeth Warren ready to put it all to rest.
I have no further comment on this.
Being a woman a problem?
I have been friends with Bernie for a long time.
And a 4-way race has emerged between the frontrunners here in Iowa, but not one single candidate has been able to consistently top the polls. Robin, at this point, it's still anyone's contest to win.
It certainly is. And this other headline I want to talk to you about, Rachel, the New York Times editorial board endorsing both Warren and Klobuchar.
That's right, Robin. The New York Times editorial board met with several candidates and decided to back the 2 female senators in this race. Senator Klobuchar calling it an honor, and Senator Elizabeth Warren tweeting that the 2 women are now undefeated in both elections and in New York Times endorsements. Robin?
She is using that line quite a bit.
Never seen that before.
All right, Rachel, thank you.
One from column A, one from column B.
That's a first. That's a first. TJ?
We turn from politics. We need to head over to Virginia, where there's a high alert this morning. Thousands of people are expected to attend a gun rights rally in Richmond, minus the guns. The governor is declaring a state of emergency there, which temporarily bans firearms and is citing credible threats of violence. Victor Okendo is on the scene for us. Good morning to you, Victor.
Good morning, TJ. Things are really starting to pick up now. This line stretches all the way down the block. A lot of these people have been here for more than 2 hours. It leads right up to the one entrance here at the state capitol. Doors open up at 7 o'clock. Everyone who goes inside will be screened. We are expecting thousands of gun rights protesters, along with members of some extreme militias. They could be here as well, protesting some new gun legislation. Local, state, and federal law enforcement are all involved. Ahead of this rally, 7 alleged white supremacists with ties to the neo-Nazi group The Base have been arrested. Authorities saying that at least 3 of them were planning on attending. The governor declaring a state of emergency and banning all weapons from Capitol grounds. Now, you can see this list of prohibited items here right at the top. Firearms. Now, while none of these items are permitted beyond this fence here outside where we're standing, all of those items are allowed. TJ?
Well, Victor, no doubt officials there have learned some security lessons from Charlottesville in 2017.
Absolutely, TJ. So we're looking at a much bigger police presence, a tighter perimeter. Communication between all agencies should be much better this time around. And of course, that weapons ban is in place. TJ.
All right, Victor Okendo for us this morning. Thank you so much, Robin.
And TJ, also this morning, we are following breaking news. Deadly gunfire erupting in Kansas City overnight outside a bar that was celebrating the Chiefs' win. At least 2 people were killed, more than a dozen more injured. Police believe the shooter is among the dead. An investigation is underway. And in Honolulu, we're learning new details about a shocking rampage there. A gunman shooting, killing 2 police officers, and setting a house on fire, destroying multiple homes. Kena Whitworth has that for us. Good morning, Kena.
Robin, good morning. Now, right now, authorities believe that this all started with an eviction notice being served at one of Hawaii's most popular tourist destinations of Diamond Head. And now this morning, the governor is speaking out, saying the entire state is in mourning.
The rampage began Sunday morning. Officers responding to a report of a stabbing inside a home in this affluent neighborhood near iconic Waikiki Beach. The suspect killing 2 officers before igniting a massive blaze responsible for engulfing neighboring homes, his whole house, and potentially ending his life. When officers arrived on the scene, the suspect opened fire with what they believe was an AR-15 style rifle, shooting at least 3 officers, killing 2.
I'm deeply saddened to report the tragic loss of 2 of HPD's finest.
The violence reportedly sparked when the suspect, identified as 69-year-old Jerry Hannell, was being served with an eviction notice. Hannell allegedly stabbed his landlord when she tried to evict him, later opening fire on responding officers.
Then there was 5 or 6 gunshots, sounded like pistol shots.
The suspect then allegedly setting fire to the home he was in, soon igniting a sprawling blaze, at least 7 more homes completely destroyed by the out-of-control flames. A trail of smoke stretching for miles.
At this time, there are 3 persons who are unaccounted for, including the suspect.
Now, authorities are also saying that they believe the suspect died, unable to escape the home that he set fire to. Of course, the investigation is ongoing. The FBI and ATF on scene as well. George.
Okay, Kena, thanks very much. We're going to turn now to growing fears about a potentially deadly virus that's sickened more than 200 people, left at least 3 dead in China. 3 U.S. airports in New York, L.A., and San Francisco now screening passengers trying to stop the spread. And Gio Benitez is at JFK Airport with the details. Good morning, Gio.
Hey, George, good morning to you. Yeah, over the weekend, several flights from Wuhan, China landed right here at JFK. This morning, there's a whole lot we don't know about this virus, including how it spreads. This morning, an all-out effort to keep a mysterious new virus out of the United States after Chinese health officials reveal they've identified more than 200 cases of the so-called coronavirus that has already killed 3 people in Asia. At least 8 are hospitalized in serious condition. Over the weekend, the CDC screening hundreds of passengers arriving from Wuhan, China. Chinese officials trying to prevent the spread too, using thermal technology and laser devices to screen passengers. Here in America, the CDC sending about 100 employees to JFK, LAX, and SFO to take temperatures and check for symptoms of the coronavirus, which can at first look like the common cold, flu, or even pneumonia. Reports say some patients may be linked to a large seafood market in China, suggesting that in at least some cases, the virus may have spread from animals to humans, though the CDC says contracting viruses from animals is rare. And we want to be very clear here. American health officials don't want you to panic. They don't want you to cancel your travel plans. They just want to be ready for anything. TJ.
All right, Gio, thank you so much. And we turn now to a matchup I know, Robin, you are very excited about.
Super Bowl matchup.
Super Bowl matchup. Big showdown is set now between the 49ers and the Chiefs. The Chiefs. First Super Bowl appearance in 50 years. San Francisco, been there, done that. This is back now for the 7th time in the big game for them. Paula Ferris is back here now with all the action. A lot of people excited to see these 2 quarterbacks, including my homie.
Your Mahomie, Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, good morning, TJ. Last time the Kansas City Chiefs played in the Super Bowl, Richard Nixon was president. That was 50 years ago. Super Bowl Sunday in just 2 weeks. It is set for an epic matchup.
Super Bowl Showdown 54 is now set. It'll be a fierce matchup in Miami between the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes proving why he's the league's reigning MVP.
Touchdown, Kansas City.
With temperatures below freezing, Mahomes beginning his assault on the Titans, throwing 3 touchdowns
down the middle.
and showing off his speed.
Mahomes Mahomes, who tiptoes inside the 10, still knocked out. Oh, what a run!
Meantime, Kansas City superfans, actors Paul Rudd and Eric Stonestreet, named the team's spirit captains, also fired up.
Go Chiefs! Go Chiefs!
And it worked.
And this game is over.
Last year, Mahomes appeared on GMA and spoke this very moment into reality.
And I'm trying right now to do whatever I can to be in the Super Bowl next year.
The young superstar will face off against San Francisco 49ers' Jimmy Garoppolo, who once played second string for the Patriots under Tom Brady. Garoppolo with 2 rings already under his belt. In San Fran, wide receiver legend and former 49er Jerry Rice firing up the crowd, running down the length of the field in full suit and tie before the game. Garoppolo and the Niners jumping out to a commanding start over Green Bay and never looked back. The 49ers Super Bowl hopes becoming a reality, fending off a late push by the Packers, the Niners cruising to a 37-20 victory.
Congratulations, 49ers!
Now, Garoppolo has two Super Bowl rings already, but remember, those were earned as Tom Brady's backup. And there were plenty of jokes flying because he threw the ball only 8 times in this game. The running game was strong, but that's one of the fewest in playoff history. But one of those passes went to his tight end, George Kittle, who, look at this, showed up to the post-game press conference wearing this. Look a little closer. This is an autographed T-shirt of a shirtless Jimmy Garoppolo. Apparently, earlier in the week, Garoppolo wore a T-shirt of Kittle. Kittle said he was waiting for a special occasion to get him back. I'd say he did.
TMI.
Yes. TMI. So you don't want that? You don't want to see that in the team store? Nobody wants to see that in the team store?
I don't think that's going to happen.
You don't like that?
Oh, it's all right.
Okay.
It's all right. Hey, we all watch for different reasons, right?
This is true. This is true.
Glad I didn't wear my George Stephanopoulos shirt today.
You know what's underneath there. Best out of that. You got to appreciate this also, Paul. This morning, the Australian Open off to a big start. Serena Williams cruising to a first-round victory, winning her match in under an hour as she goes for her 24th career Grand Slam singles title. And Coco Gauff, once again, first round of a Grand Slam, meeting up with Venus Williams, comes away with the victory. All this taking place amid the Australian wildfires. We saw the smoke cause problems during the qualifying matches. The tournament referee now has the power to stop play if the smoke poses a danger to players. And we cannot forget about those tragic fires that are taking place there in Australia, and even to in the Open.
Well, we sure can. Yeah. We are following a lot of other stories this morning, including the new message from Prince Harry. He's speaking publicly for the first time about stepping back from royal duties, and we're going to have what he's saying about Meghan, Archie, and why he says there was, quote, no other option.
And the big surprises at the SAG Awards, and also Brad and Jen reuniting, both winning big. What it all means for the Oscars. It was nice to see them backstage like that. We're going to hear from them, but first, let's go to Ginger.
I haven't stopped looking at those pictures for like 12 hours. All right, so how about this? We talk about Erie, Pennsylvania, Interstate I-90. Shut down westbound lanes because of the lake effect snow, 4 to 8 inches, and now the cold settles in. The Select Cities Now, brought to you by Capital One.
With the savings rates offered at some banks, your money almost seems like it's frozen. But not here. With Capital One, you can open a new savings account in about 5 minutes and earn 5 times the national average. Open one from here or here in a Capital One cafe. Plus, there are no fees or minimums on savings or checking accounts because that's how it should be. This is Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Head out today to any MLK Day event. Brisk and blustery. It is going to be a cold one today with sunshine, though. Dress in plenty of layers. Temperatures today topping out at 36 degrees, but wind chill temperatures today will be in the 20s most of the afternoon. Feeling like 24 degrees by noon. During the parade, noon to 2, and then 2 p.m. feeling like 28 degrees. Not quite as cold tomorrow. Your next weather maker moving in at the end of the work week with higher temperatures. Rain for Saturday.
If your mouth is made to amaze, let Philips Sonicare give its care a raise. If your teeth chew beyond their limit, they've earned 62,000 movements a minute. If your mouth's used to a manual clean, get healthier gums in 2 weeks, guaranteed. If your amazing mouth does more than its share, give it Philips Sonicare. Next level clean, next level care. There's always a way to make life better. Philips Sonicare.
I wanna